Hey guys, welcome back to the Holy Grail build. Glad you guys could join us. We stopped filming there for a few days to get some work done, and I wanted to show you what we did in those couple of days. So you might have seen us working on the fenders. Those are looking really good. The bed is looking pretty good. Got the back end tacked in. None of this is finish welded yet. We're starting to mock up things for the fuel cell, and eventually we're going to try to put a boom on there, which is going to be cool, and then working out ways to put boxes and tool stuff like that. Josh over here did a really good job. He filled in the wheel well here and also the roof line. So he basically just took some thin sheet steel, welded that in really nice, and then ground that back smooth. He even kept this body line right here, which is really cool. So it used to end right here, but it looks almost perfect. We then set these rock rails up here to try to figure out where we're going to put those. At first I wanted to put them at an angle, but I think with the look of the bed, it's coming down here, and it's going to look cool if we attach it like that. But we can't do that yet, and we'll show you why here in a minute. Josh, what else did we do? That's one thing that we did as well. We cut out the back window. So we have a sliding window that's going to go in there. We just haven't put it in yet because we don't want to destroy it or break it. There's still a lot to do. On the inside, we figured out how to mount this motor because this used to be in the trunk, so we had to move it. But that motor is what controls the sunroof, and it attaches to these. We're going to put that behind the seat, and it's going to require a little bit of fabrication to do that. All the paint's been completely stripped. It's starting to flash rust again, but we bought some stuff called shark hide. We're going to give that a try. We're going to try to make this thing nice and shiny, but keep it shiny. I don't want it rusting again. If that shark hide doesn't work, then we're going to have to come back and clear coat it later. So we'll see how well that stuff does. Up front here, we clearanced for the tires. I think that's going to work. We'll see once we actually flex it. We don't really know exactly where. I put a jack on there with a strap, tried to flex it. The front springs are pretty stiff, so it doesn't flex a whole lot. So I think to really flex this thing, we're going to have to get it out on a trail or on an RTI ramp. But if you'll notice, this is just about as high as the back end. And we actually did flex the back end, so we know that that is all the up travel we needed. So looking at it, that arch is actually higher than that fender. So I think we're going to be okay. Up front here was a real challenge. So I spent about half a day looking for this radiator. I finally found a radiator that was going to fit in here. It was kind of a special application because of the motor has an outlet on the top of 1.75 inches and on the bottom is 2 inches. The rails here are very slim compared to what looks like the opening. The actual frame of the Dodge is much narrower. This is a radiator for a JK. It was the only one that I could find that would fit, and it fits perfectly. Look at that. This is the stock, the factory Jag valence. What do you call that thing?
Upper radiator support.
Upper radiator support. And then so what we're going to do today is build some supports to hold this in, because we're going to have to take this body back off. The body, we kind of got ahead of ourselves. There's a lot more to do under there, including finishing welding up some things, adding more supports, doing stiffeners, and a belly skid. Lots of things that still need to be done. But before we weld on these rock sliders, once we weld these on, we won't be able to get the lift under here to pick up the body. So at this point, we need to take the body off, finish everything under there before we can continue working on the outside, including the roll cage, which we're going to build a roll cage, a roof rack, and all kinds of stuff yet. So up front here was pretty challenging because the bumper of the Jag sits a lot higher than where the bumper of the Dodge sat. Tried to do my best to make this look seamless, and I think once we're all finished, said and done, it's going to look pretty good. But I've got 2x6 box right here, 1/4 inch, and then I actually bought I think it was a 6-inch pipe and cut it so that this would be rolled and rounded. We've got a fair lead here, and the winch that we pulled off of the Toyota is going to sit perfectly right in here. You'll be able to reach the handle right under the jag bumper here. And of course, all of that also incorporates the leaf springs. So even if we were to get rid of this bumper, you would still have these frame horns and these leaf spring mounts. So somehow had to figure out how to incorporate that all together. And then I got this little thing and welded it here for a recovery point. Hopefully we don't need that. You know, what kind of recovery vehicle would we have to get to recover this monster? The world's largest wrecker. We're going to have to call Matt if we ever need a tow out of somewhere, because this thing is massive and it's going to be heavy. Oh yeah, so one of the other things that we did, in fact the welding clamp is still on there, but I had some downtime where I couldn't work on the bed because Josh was back there doing stuff, so I pulled the steering orbital off of the Toyota and I mounted that here. So I was thinking about having it come down and turn, but then I thought that's just complicating things. We'll just put it right on the end of the steering wheel so it's real close to the firewall, and just have a little tube here, connected that. And so this orbital is what controls and tells the ram which direction to turn based off of how you're turning the steering wheel. So one end goes to the ram, or two of these go to the ram, one goes to the pump, and one goes to the cooler. So what do you guys think? It's coming together pretty good, I think. I think it looks really killer right now. Once again, we're going with that Mad Max theme, and it's getting there, although we have a lot of ways to go. We did get some crazy news. Again, they've changed the rules. So I got a message from Ian saying that somebody had a tire issue, and now, for whatever reason, don't know why, but they're not counting tires into the budget, or maybe they're counting tires but at a lower cost. I don't know. It's weird. So tires and wheels are going to be at a lower cost in the budget for us. So that kind of changes things, because that means other people might be upgrading their tires and we're running on some really old Super Swampers. So we might look into different wheels and tires for this thing, depending on where that puts us in the budget. But also there was more safety things added that don't count into the $20,000 budget, which I can kind of see for stuff like fire extinguishers and stuff, but they're counting seats as safety things too. So we might be putting some different seats in there. Of course, harnesses are not counted, and roll cage. But the thing about a roll cage is it's tied in to your sliders. So does that mean our sliders aren't counted in the budget? I don't know, but we're going to try to keep this thing under $20,000 no matter what. But we're definitely going to be looking into upgrading the tires, because everybody else is. We don't want to be the only ones not to be on sticky tires or whatever it is that everybody else is running. So we have to keep an eye out on what the competition is doing based on the new rule changes to try to keep up. And now that you guys know what this thing looks like, we need your help in the voting. I think we're still last place in the voting, which, if you remember, they're going to be giving us cash to bet with, so the voting doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to lose, but the more votes that we get, the more cash we're going to get to be able to gamble. It's kind of like a Las Vegas themed this year, so we're going to be able to gamble our votes basically to try to win the competition. So we need those votes from you guys. If you'll go on to Onyx, for a while there things were messed up with the bots, but now you don't have to be a member. Well, you have to log in, but you don't have to be a paying member to vote still. So that's good news for everybody. So if you are an Onyx member, or if you are not, just log in with your email and put in your information and vote for us. Speaking of Onyx, this right here is the official BleepinJeep Onyx Off-Road Build Challenge hat, and you can get yours If you upgrade to the Elite membership on Onyx or purchase an Elite membership on Onyx, make sure to use the code. I'm going to leave that in the doohickey below, and you will get a free hat. If you are already an Elite membership, I'll leave a doohickey down below as well where you can purchase your own. So get that and show your support for BleepinJeep in the Onyx Off-Road Build Challenge.